Hi there, it's Ann O'Brien. How are you? Are you feeling the change in the air? So I don't think it's just fall. I think there's something in the stars right now because I know a lot of people are in a lot of transition. Life is feeling very new and it's very exciting and it can be scary and it can be unsettling and it's like fasten your seatbelts because we're going on a ride and this is uncharted territory, right? I don't know how many of you can relate to this. I'll say for myself and our family, we're all in a transition. My daughter's starting preschool. I had it in my head that come September, beginning of September, I would have all this extra free time, and while it will get there, the first few weeks were completely packed from my perspective with orientations and meetings and being with her at the beginning of school, and I had not budgeted energetically for that. It's a lot. Oh my gosh. And now I'm seeing these posts on Facebook and my friends are telling me several moms that I know that they're like now all they can do is soccer with their kids. I'm like, I don't want to do soccer. I'm not into soccer. No offense if you like soccer, but it's just like wow, this requires a lot, this whole parenting thing. And at the same time, she's good and she loves her school and she's playing with other kids and she's just exploring and expanding, and we are getting more free time. And my husband and I are both taking our businesses up to the next level, which in a lot of ways requires a leap of faith that it's really happening, that we're really going to do it. And trying to keep up with the house. we need to do something about that. My daughter likes to change her clothes about every 10 minutes. So we have this pile. Typically, you know, if we let it go 3 days, it's like more clothes are out of the dresser than into the dresser, and we are just constantly scrambling to keep it all together. They're going, Arthur and Azadeh, my daughter, they're going away for a couple days this week, so I can have a little space to myself. And for the first overnight, for the first like 48-hour break, I've been with her every day of her life. And the next month, I'm leading my retreat. I'm gone for a week. And we're weaning this month. We're also weaning. I know some people judge. I did when I was in my 20s. I didn't understand nursing any baby after about 1. But yeah, we've been weaning. We're moving towards weaning her in the next couple weeks as well. She's turning 3, so it's a lot. And yeah, it's like every second that we're not working, meditating, chanting, or exercising, we're like scrambling to keep up with the house, just cooking and cleaning, and sometimes it's just a wreck, and we're actually very clean people, and that's just what happens when you have a 3-year-old. So we might need to hire some more help here. Anyway, that's me. But I also feel very pumped up right now because I just saw my sister do this amazing performance. I actually saw 14 people last night in this, what they call Circus Star competition, and so it's 14 performers doing these different things on like a hoop and silks, which is like this beautiful colored fabric, and they're up in the air doing these stunning acrobatics with everybody different music and different costume and a different routine. And wow, I did not realize. I mean, I remembered last night how into that kind of thing I am. I used to be a dancer and a musician, and so to see all these people just presenting themselves, you know, creatively, and spirit in the body. My work is all about the spirit and the body coming together, and you know, what could be more spirit body coming together than using your body for that kind of creative expression. So that was amazing. And one of the things they talked about, that the judges continue to remind many of the performers because they gave them comments after each person performed. They just had a 1-minute song, and then the judge would comment. 3 judges. They kept saying, look at your transitions. Make sure that you're smooth in your transitions, because all the performers were amazing. None of them, you know, none of them weren't good. So they were all amazing. They had amazing skills, technical skills, and some were more engaging than others. And why was that? So there were 2 things that came up, and this is pertinent to any of you that are in transition, which is why I'm talking about it. One thing is really to be present in the transition. So it's one thing to do a split in the air and then, you know, come down and do this like fall, but it's another thing, how do you get from the split into the fall? That movement between the two, that fluidity. As an audience, we are watching that as much as we're watching trick number 1, trick number 2, trick number 3. So, you know, every 20 seconds there's a new trick, but what happens in between? There's a lot of other seconds, there's a lot of time that we're watching the flow between. And so the judges would say, you know, being really present and connected in the transitions, keeping your facial expressions, keeping connection with the audience. For duos, keeping connection with each other. The other thing that the judges said a lot of was to be fully committed. The acts that they liked, the acts that they really, some of the compliments they gave were that the performer, the artist, was 100% clear in his or her choices. There was one woman with a cat mask and a whip, and it's like she did not apologize for that. She wasn't like, oh my God, I'm too shy for this, I'm nervous. She just went for it. And it was powerful. And, maybe it wasn't, my thing or somebody else's thing, but it was like, can't help but get engaged with it because she's 100% engaged with it, right? And by contrast, there was, some performers that at some point you would feel like they're not really sure what they're doing. And probably they're just nervous and they, missed a step. Or one woman had a violin, she forgot to turn her mic on, so she was playing the violin on the trapeze, but we couldn't hear the violin. It was confusing for the audience. So this has a lot to do with life. You might be wondering, well, why am I talking about this? So any of you in transitions, and most of my clients come to me in a transition, whether it's a divorce or breakup, whether it's a new relationship or calling in a new partner or having a baby, whether it's a career change from one job to another or starting a business. I love that stuff, making changes with your business, whether it's a move from home, whether it's a healing physical health issue. But in any kind of transition, if you are clear about where you're going, if you're clear that, I'm going to do this. I am doing this. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I should do this. Is it going to be okay? Life responds to what you broadcast. So if you're completely committed in your transition and you stay engaged, even if it's hard, even if it's confusing, even if it's uncharted territory, if you can say, first of all, present with yourself, with life, with those around you, you're going to come out, a winner. You're going to come out succeeding in your transition. My teacher used to talk a lot about healing and transitions, and he would say, for most people, when they're having trouble healing something or desiring healing and wanting to make a change in their lives, when they get stuck, they're not okay with one of two things. He would say, you need to be okay 100% with where you're at right now, and a lot of people aren't, and also you have to be 100% okay with where you're going and where you desire to be. You have to be willing to have it now. And so he would actually have us raise our hands. He would say, so how many of you in this room, if your life stayed just as it is for the rest of your life, how many of you would be okay with that? And there were few hands that got raised, to be honest. Most people didn't raise their hands. Most people were like, and I didn't ask everybody, but just tuning in psychically, it's like, God, I can't stand my body this way. I have to change this thing, or I need more money, or I hate my job. I feel really trapped, or this relationship sucks and it feels so toxic and it's in this pattern, or my mental patterns, I'm depressed, whatever it is that people just were not accepting of. The other thing, on the other hand, what he said about being okay with where you're going. So you have to be as if, it's happening now. Would that be okay with you? Like, a lot of people think they want a certain body type or weight, or they think they want so much money, or they think they want to have this life or this type of relationship. And really, if it were to happen now, maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe you wouldn't accept it. Maybe you can't believe. Maybe there's a part of your life that's just not lined up for it. And I recently wrote a blog along these lines called The Power of Decision, if you saw it. My story was about my daughter waking up in the morning, and back to her changing clothes all the time. She'll wake up in the morning often and put on her swimsuit, and she'll say, Mama, Papa, I'm going swimming. And sometimes she'll say, can I have a Mama Chia, which is her favorite snack, or whatever, can I go to the playground today? And she'll nod and smile when she says it. It's like, is that a question or a statement? And most of the time we do what she asks, or we do what she commands, because she's fully aligned with it. So you have to be able to have both. And I agree with my teacher. I agree with that idea that you have to have point A and point B. The other thing that I've been really reflecting on that he didn't talk about, that I've been noticing, is you have to be okay with the journey. The journey from point A to point B can be treacherous, right? And are you going to make it? I recently talked to one of my clients. She's an entrepreneur, and she was saying, I can see. She's also been taking classes, so she can see, clairvoyantly. She can see, there's money ahead for me. I can see there's, great revenues coming. And she said, my concern is is my body going to make it from here to there? And that's a valid concern. So how do you stay present in that? I remember my ex-brother-in-law, he started a business and he was at a point where he needed to hire help, but he didn't have the money to hire help yet. And so did he have even one partner? I can't remember, but anyway, he was working around the clock to get to the point where he had enough money to hire help. It's like, those transitions can be hard. Or I remember another of my clients going through a breakup, and I was seeing, initially he had been sort of for a year unsure, like, kind of half in and half out of this relationship. And it was so hard. That year was so hard because he wasn't fully committing, he wasn't making a choice, and he wasn't fully being present with what was happening. And so as soon as he made the choice, it was still hard, but then he became present in the transition. And it took, maybe a couple more months, and then it was on to the next thing. And I think that was so helpful, the work we did in just really helping him get present and really giving him a perspective and an ear and some encouragement along the way so he could stay present, and also having tools, having meditation tools, grounding tools, energetic tools. A lot of this that I teach is imagination visualization. Like, imagine you send this other person's energy back and they have one color and you bring your energy back in your one color. So let's say I'm pink and my husband is blue, and you don't have to break up to do this, by the way. If you feel like you're getting too entwined or you're in a pattern with somebody that's just not feeling good, or you're getting edgy with each other and you don't know why, this is a great exercise. I send my husband's blue back to him. I call my pink back to me, and I just made these colors up, by the way. But really, any color works as long as you have the intention behind it. So that's a great exercise. Another example of transition and how I've helped people on a healing level. Many women that I've worked with are, whether they're in a breakup or they are interested in a guy, and so, or maybe they're separated and they're trying to figure out where this relationship is at, or the relationship is happening, but it's sort of on the rocks, and they're trying to make it work. And so they go into their mind. They go into analysis and trying to figure it out. Okay, is he seeing someone else? What's he thinking? What should I do? Is it going to be okay? What do you see in the future? All of that is avoiding the transition. All of that is a way to not be present, and it only either perpetuates the process that you're in, or it sabotages the process that you're in. And so if we can only be like, oh, okay, I'm in this transition. I feel really hurt. I feel really scared. I feel really jealous. I'm going to breathe through that. I'm going to feel what's coming up for me. Maybe this happened in my childhood or in a past life. And then you can actually move through it. And then you're actually, as I said, you're commanding the universe. You're magnetizing the universe to you. And you might think, oh, I shouldn't magnetize from a place of fear, jealousy, sadness, anger, whatnot. But actually, it doesn't work like that. If you're in your authenticity, if you're moving energy, you'll magnetize. It's like you move the energy out and you make a space for what you're calling in. So you move mountains by moving your emotions. So where does energy healing come into all this? So I talked a bit about the visual of, my color, my husband's color, and my client can do that with her and her partner or desired partner or past partner, or if you're in a business situation. I helped one woman. She was actually similar idea, but not romantic. She had her mind set on a certain business contact helping her take a certain business idea of hers to the next level. And she thought this particular person in their company would make her big, would make her, a millionaire, whatever. And so she had a lot of her energy in him. And so what we did is I helped her call her energy back out of him into her. And the very next morning, she told me he had finally emailed her after months of no contact. And so it's actually very counterintuitive. You don't want to pull your energy back, but in order to create space for somebody to be magnetized to you, you have to do that. It's pretty powerful. So that's one idea of, what happens in an energetic healing. So one thing we can do is call our energy back. Another thing we can do is we can call our energy in, and this is another version of calling our energy back, but it's not about a person. It could be like what happened for me last night. I saw this performance, and I was a dancer, and I was a musician, and I love that stuff, and I'm all about bringing the spirit and body together, right? So to see those performers last night, it rocked my world because it reminded me of a part of me. I'm getting like all like kind of teary as I'm talking, but it reminded me of a part of me, not that I had completely forgotten, but that I had not actively, engaged that part of me lately. So it really lit me up creatively. Thank you. If my sister's watching this, thank you for inviting me to your show. And anyway, thanking the universe and thanking all those performers, even though they're probably not going to watch this video. So that's one thing. And so for you, you might recognize like, oh my gosh, I saw this person who, um, she has a level of freedom in her life that I desire. Maybe I see another person's relationship, or I even see somebody's outfit, and I go, oh my God, I want that, right? And when you experience something like that, you're reminding yourself, you're being reminded, oh, I can have that. I actually have that available to me, and that's a part of me that maybe I've forgotten about. So that's such a healing thing. The other thing that we do in energy healing, that, in order to heal in a transition, a lot of times when we're in a transition, why it's so uncomfortable is because we've been living our lives based on other people's agendas, based on other people's desires or emotions or programming or fears or whatnot. And it's usually nobody's trying to do it to you. Usually it's our parents, our families, our teachers, the culture, the media, and anybody that you've listened to, certainly the authorities in your life, as well as your environment that you're around. Most of us have picked up a lot from these sources and have thought it was ours. And some of it may be appropriate for you. I'm not saying you should toss it all out and go sit in a cave and just chant. But I am saying to look at it, right? And so when we're in a transition, most of the time, what we're doing is we're becoming more and more of ourselves. We're clearing out those other people. We're clearing out that programming that we were taught when we were 5 that just doesn't work. Maybe it never worked, or maybe it did, but it doesn't work now. We're clearing out other people's emotions, their fears for us, their fears for themselves, their belief systems, people's desires for us, people's desires for themselves that we took on. And again, nobody tried to, usually, occasionally they do, but most of the time they didn't try to do it to us. It just happened. And we were caught in the middle of it, and then we got older, and then our lives became based upon it, and then we have to unravel, and it's like unraveling a ball of yarn. And it takes work, and it takes perseverance. It can be very confusing to recognize, oh my gosh, all this stuff I thought was me isn't me, or all this stuff that I have been living by doesn't actually work for me. And how do I change it at age, 30, 40, 50, however old you are, and yet it's worth it. It is so worth it because you feel more and more free, you feel more and more yourself, life gets better and better, and there is hope. And it's especially helpful to have somebody to guide you through this process. So if this inspires you, if you're in a transition, or maybe you're in a healing profession or you would like to be able to help others, I have an offer for you, and I have an upcoming program called Awakening Your Healing Energy. Awaken Your Healing Energy, actually. And you can learn how to heal yourself, and you can learn how to heal other people. And even if you never want to heal other people, it's still really great for self-healing. And in the class, we do trade, and it's so fun. My students have built such camaraderie. We have a student-only Facebook group that all my past and current students are invited into if you choose. And so you can connect there. And in class itself, I have the technology now where you can trade readings or healings. In the clairvoyant program, we do readings. In the healing program, you trade healings live on the call. And your healing is private between you and your partner. So I pair you up. And whoever you have as your partner, you're going to give them a healing, and they're going to give you a healing. And most of my students are able to do this so quickly. And it's amazing what they pick up. Often it's like, oh, I felt something in your stomach. And the other person would say, how did you know I have this stomach issue? Or the back, lower back. Oh my God, how did you know my back hurts there? And then at the end of the healing, they feel better because everything is energy, right? And so in the healing class, you learn how to identify, and we start with 4 weeks of meditation. So you'll have a solid meditation foundation, certain basic building blocks and basic tools, so that you can ground yourself, clear your own space, becoming a neutral healer, becoming setting an intention for how you want to be in your healing practice, and also learning how to replenish your own energy and fill your own cup, and then moving into the healing program and the healing classes where we do the trades. People are, throughout the 8 weeks of the healing classes, just blown away by the healing they receive, and every time we give, we receive too, right? So I encourage you to check that out. If you go to floweringsoul.com, you can see one of the tabs is Awaken Intuition. You can find Awaken Your Healing Energy under there. Please check in with me if you'd like to talk. I'd be happy to set up a one-on-one phone conversation with you or Skype chat to discover if this is right for you, to hear what you're needing right now. And I also offer private reading and healing sessions if that appeals to you. So thank you so much, and many blessings through whatever transitions you're in your life, big or small. May you stay present. May you breathe through them. May you laugh. Laughing helps a lot. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.